What is up, everyone, and welcome to the Mafia Midway, your midweek therapy session talking Buffalo Bills and more. What a great day to have a therapy session, Sean, as the Bills fail to make a move before the trade deadline yesterday, 4 p.m. Eastern. And I got to ask you, Sean, a lot of fans are disappointed, but are the Bills fans overreacting? What's your thoughts on that, and how are you feeling about Beane not making a move yesterday?
No, I don't think anybody's overreacting because you should always want your team to be better, whether it's a depth move or just anything that could make any room on your team better. So for the people that are really mad and disappointed, they have every right to be. And for the people basically saying you have no right to be upset, I think that's incorrect too, because you got to look at every post game show in a loss or even in a win, and there's going to be people complaining about wide receivers, backup defensive tackles. There's going to be someone complaining about something. So it's especially since we haven't really made a significant acquisition at a trade deadline. I know Cooper and Russell Douglas, but those guys weren't significant. We could think they were, but they weren't a significant move that could get you a Super Bowl.
So who are you eyeing up? Like, who are you hoping, or what position were you hoping that the Bills really made it run for?
I mean, it was tough because you saw Oliver leave, or not leave, but out for the year, if not just for the regular season, but maybe the playoffs too. And then Hoyt tears his Achilles. Now Bosa's got a wrist issue. AJ Epenesa's got a concussion protocol. Just injuries all over the place. Benford's injured again. Taron Johnson's injured again. And it's just you would wish you would maybe found some guy in the defensive line that could possibly be of help. Receiver, of course. I know we have a good enough receiver room, but it's about there's nothing wrong with adding more, because I saw people that were mad like if we signed Deebo Samuel, they're like, oh, he's just like Shakir. But he's still going to be someone that defenses pay attention to. And he's better than Keon Coleman. He's better than Tyrell Shavers. He's better than Elijah Moore. So he would have been a significant upgrade for a cheap deal that you could have got. But, I would have been fine with anything that could have helped, because every year in the playoffs, we're missing 3 or 4 key starters on defense. And now we're rolling into we got 9 weeks left, and we probably won't get the 1 seed. So we're not going to have a bye week going into the playoffs. So we have to make it, 9, 10 for the wild card, 11 for the divisional, 12 for the AFC championship. We got to make it 12 weeks straight without injuries. So I would have liked to do something on defense, maybe more than offense, but they felt we didn't need to do anything.
Well, comedian Mo Brown, he's saying, nobody wants to deal with the Bills. John Robert needs 2 teams to deal. And let's see, we got Go Bills podcast out there. Brett saying, looking into Beane trade line decisions, why take a risk on players who have an injury history? So I think first of all, am I disappointed? Sure, because you beat the Chiefs, but don't let that be the reason why you don't make a move. And I don't think it was. Look, if it's me, this team is a really good team, the Buffalo Bills, following up on last year's season. We had some concerns early in the year, losing 2 in a row, come back strong, whooped up on the Panthers, and look what they did to beat Green Bay. So now all of a sudden that game looks a lot harder than what folks thought. Like, dang, you never know with those Panthers. And then they come back and they just put a whooping. And I know the score doesn't show it, but the Bills really dominated that game for the first time. Pat Mahomes' lowest completion percentage in his career. That's impressive. But then you lose Michael Hoyt, who, to me, that's the biggest loss. Like, we can talk about the injury report here in a little bit. I think a lot of this is just more people. It's just Wednesday. People did not practice, and I think they're just getting a rest. That was a very physical game, and get rested up. You're playing the Dolphins, not to say skip over them, don't worry about them, but get some rest going into this game. But for me, I was a little disappointed with Michael Hoyt, because that guy was just bringing some electric. What a game he was having. We've seen him in the 2 games that he come back. So I'm thinking, all right, let's go after a defensive tackle. And we could talk about there wasn't a lot of big deals made on the defensive side. Well, I shouldn't say that. The Jets were sellers. Unfortunately, they're in our division. Bad time to be in the East. This is a time where you wish we weren't. We could have dealt with those guys. But we don't make a move. But you had to think Beane was making calls. And I had to think that maybe there was a deal in play that got shut down last minute, because we did take Taron Johnson and rework his contract a little bit, free up some money. Not sure why Taron Johnson was the was the target for that, but they had just did that the day before. So you had to think there was something in play. I know that there was. Look, I don't know why the Saints wouldn't be dealing Olave if you gave them the right price. They did deal. Let's see, Rashid. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So they did deal him for a 2026 to the Seattle Seahawks for a 2026 fourth rounder and a 2026 fifth rounder. So that was a guy we had on our minds, speedster. But I don't know, would he have been a great fit in our team? Would he have gotten the reps that we'd want? But maybe not. But we do know one thing: he would have kept the defenses a little more honest, because that dude's got speed for days. Speed for days. So you look at what they gave up for that, that's not much. So what do you think happened there? I get it. Chris Olave, he probably was, the asking price was a lot. I still would have given it whatever it was. But why do you think somebody like Rashid, who we talked about, why would we make that deal for what they gave up? Seemed pretty darn cheap to me.
Yeah, well, it's because Brandon Beane doesn't like to part with his draft picks, and he said he went up there and lied to everybody and said, I'm more mad than anyone. No, you're not, because you could have easily made that move. Do we not have I don't know what picks we have. Do we not have a third round pick?
I don't know. I would imagine we do, but even if we didn't have one this year, next year, 2027, we would have something to give up.
Because you're telling me you couldn't give a third round pick for Shaheed,
right?
And it's not just about making your team better, but what happens if Kincaid's hurt? Because he's already been hurt multiple times this year. What happens if Shakir goes down? Palmer's hurt all the time, and then you got nobody. So it's not just about helping your team now, but in the event something bad happens, you're prepared for it. And their preparation is Kingsley Jonathan, Casey Toohill, guys that nobody wants. And that's not really an answer. And I know our good friend Brett said Jones and Sanders are coming back, but Sanders is horrible. Jones has been good, so it'd be nice to have him back. But he's old too, so there's no guaranteeing he's going to stay healthy the entire year. And luckily Walker's been great, but Bosa's, he's been healthy all year, but he got a banged up wrist now, and you need your wrist to play defensive end. So I think he'll be fine, but still we have to wait again. We have to make it 12 weeks to get to a Super Bowl probably without a bye week. So
yeah, I want to bring up what John Roberts says, because this is interesting. One of my good friends, I work with him. I was at the office today. He's a Jets fan. Asked him what he thought of the moves. He's like, yeah, it hurts to lose like guys like Sauce, youngster, stud, corner. They don't come along that often, but he was very happy with what they got in return. The Jets are definitely on the rebuild, but he did mention, and this was interesting, that the Chiefs wanted Breece Hall. And the difference came down to, and this is what he said, and I guess this was reported on ESPN, that the Jets wanted a third round draft pick. I was trying to get Weston to confirm this or not. The Jets wanted a third round draft pick for Breece. The Chiefs were only willing to give up a fourth. I'm thinking to myself, that's absolutely insane that you burn a deal for a third versus a fourth. That's insane to me. What do you think about that? Do you think that there has to be something else, right? If you really want a Breece Hall, you're giving up a third rounder, no problem, no questions asked.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me in the Chiefs' case, especially because what's really the difference? Their third round pick is basically a fourth round pick anyway. So I would have just gave it to him. I believe that's what the Jets, what were they saying was true, because Aaron Glenn had a price tag on all of his players that he could potentially get rid of, and they stuck down to what they believed, and that's what they got for the guys that they got rid of. Now, they weren't budging off the third round pick. I would have gave it to them if I was Kansas City, but they didn't feel like doing it for some reason. So that would have to be a Kansas City question to the GM.
Yeah. Hopefully Weston joins us tonight. I did ask him in the Discord, but must be busy today, or he's still sulking over that loss that they had on Sunday. But he's usually always the guy bringing us the news. So, Steve, you were actually hoping that we traded for Von Miller. Kind of crazy if we had. I wouldn't have minded it, but kind of crazy if we had, because we're still paying him, and now you're paying him again, which is insane. But let's talk about this, because back in 2021, when the Rams won their Super Bowl, right? They actually traded to get Von Miller. They traded away their 2022 second and third round picks to the Broncos to get Von Miller. They went on and won a Super Bowl. And it really didn't hurt them in the future. I mean, they gave up just a second and a third rounder. And 2 years later, the Rams were contending in the playoffs again. So I would have liked to move, but let's talk about who might have been out there on the defensive side, because other than Quentin Williams, there weren't many defensive line players that went. Now, there was, yes, I know that Jalen Phillips from the Dolphins. And again, this is what hurts me as well, because you see the defending Super Bowl champs getting better, right? They pick up, they trade for Jalen Phillips. Jair Alexander, a cornerback that we wanted a couple years ago. I don't know what his situation is, because he's such a good cornerback a few years ago. I don't know if he's had some injury issues. Maybe someone who's out there in the chat, or Sean, you know that. And then they go after another cornerback, Michael Carter, again. So again, here they are making moves. Super Bowl champs. You would think, okay, if anyone should be in great position, they should be, but no, they're going for more. And that's the only thing I thought. I was like, you can't just rest on the fact that you beat the Chiefs. You beat the Chiefs every year in the regular season. As dominant as this was, and I think we even beat them by double digits a few years back in the regular season. As dominant this was, you got to have something. You got to keep the foot on the gas pedal. And you're right, John, we don't know the situation. We don't know. I'm sure Beane was out there making deals, but it sure seems like every other team's able to make one and we're not. And maybe it is just nobody wants to deal with us. I find that a little hard to believe as well. But yeah, interesting, Steve. Von Miller was there for the taking. I'm not sure how he's doing. How is Von doing this year? Anyone know? Anyone have stats? I can look it up while you're talking.
I mean, I guess he has like 5 sacks, but the stats don't always tell the story. Their defense is horrible. They're just a bad team. So I don't know how we do with us.
Yeah. Let's see here. Trek Review is saying, yeah, hell, I would have given our first to the Jets for Quincy Williams. And I agree. But again, it's interdivision, and it's just a written rule. You just don't do that. And so I don't know what the Bills, I'm sure they made a call. I would think, what's it going to take to get Quincy? Man, what that would have done for our defense, especially with these injuries to Oliver and Hoyt recently.
Yeah.
Right? Man, just the guy like that, unbelievable. Now, I think Josh would have had a problem with that, right? Isn't he the one who always has a problem? Him and Josh. Is
No,
Quincy the guy?
that was a guy from the Dolphins, but
oh, okay.
he's a free agent. You could bring him in.
Yeah.
But, it just came down to Beane didn't want to embarrass himself getting a receiver. Didn't want to get rid of draft picks because, like Steve said, Calais Campbell, he's on a 1-year rental with Arizona. Arizona would have took a 7th round pick for him because he's not going to be there next year. So they could have called them and said, hey, I'll give you a 5th for Calais Campbell. And they would have said, I would have done it for a 7th round pick, but here, go ahead. So he just didn't want to do anything. And again, I know people say we don't know the situation. And what Brett said was true about deals and contracts had been moved around and stuff. But they shouldn't have waited to the last minute. So the contracts and negotiating and other things they had to move around shouldn't have waited till 3:00 on the trade deadline day. They should have had this weeks in advance, especially with the bye week we had a week or two before the trade deadline. So it was just him not wanting to do anything. And again, he never really does make that significant impact. And I say it every year. You guys always listen to me. The real teams that win make a significant impact move at the trade deadline. And, surprisingly, the Chiefs didn't do anything. We didn't do anything. Well, not surprised about us, but the Eagles did something. And they did multiple things, actually. So, won't be surprised if they're back in the Super Bowl again.
Yeah. So real quick, it's correction. It's Quincy Williams. Shame on you, Track, for sending me down. It's Quinnen Williams, not Quincy.
Yeah, he said he met Quinnen.
Yeah, he did correct himself. That's where I was going off of his little message there, but it was Quinnen Williams. And let's see here. Yes, got you, Track. Would have loved that pick. And then we'll answer that question in a second, John. I mean, let's just take a look at this. You got the Colts. The Colts go big. They go big. They sell out to get Sauce Gardner. And it was a massive deal, right? They get Gardner and they give up a 26th and a 27th first round pick. So that's selling out, Sean. And if they feel that that's their missing piece, and we'll see, they're a good team. I mean, yes, they had a bad game against the Steelers. Danny Jones looked a little like old Daniel Jones, but everyone has a bad game. We had a couple bad games, lost back-to-back games. So here they are thinking this is their piece. Let's go for it. Let's go for it now. And they did. That's a huge move on their part, giving up 2 first-round picks for a guy like Sauce Gardner. You think they overpaid?
Oh, it's definitely an overpay. But they showed that they think they can win now, and they want to make even more chance for that to happen. Something that you need gumption to do, and our GM doesn't have that, and wants to control his picks. He fails on most of his picks, and then we're in the same position every single year. Now, are the Colts going to win a Super Bowl? Probably not. Do they have a better chance than we do? Definitely. The Sauce make that guaranteed? No, but they needed secondary help. They already got Travarius Ward over there, who's a former, I think he's an all-pro, but went to the Super Bowl with the 49ers a couple times, played with the Chiefs in the Super Bowl as well. So now you got him and Sauce Gardner. You got a great defensive line. You got Lou Anarumo as a defensive coordinator. And then, again, their offense is great. They got a great offensive-minded head coach. They got Jonathan Taylor. They got a top 3 offensive line. So if they stay healthy, they could probably at least make a deep run in the playoffs. They might even knock us out or knock Kansas City out. But that was a good move. Now it was an overpay, so it was great for the Jets, especially for Quinnen Williams. That was an overpay as well. A first round pick, a second round pick, and a player. Sauce, you got 2 first round picks and a wide receiver too. So, but the Colts weren't even using this guy. He was drafted last year with Keon, and he was on like 5th, 6th in the depth chart. That's how good they are. So the Jets got great hauls, and that was a hard decision to make for them, but the smart and right decision.
We got a lot of good questions here. I want to jump to Steve's, and we'll get back to you, Brett and John, because you both have questions. This is a good one, and I'd like the chat to chime in here as well. Question for you guys: would you trade Sunday's win versus the Chiefs for a healthy Hoyt for the rest of the season? I'll let you start. I have mixed feelings on this one, but what do you think here? What are you going with?
It's tough because if we have Hoyt, do we win the Super Bowl? Maybe. If we do, then I would trade the win for it. But if we're going to lose in the same round we would anyway, I'll take the win because we needed that. Because now we still have a chance for the division, still have a chance for the 1 seed. If we lost that game, we have no shot at the 1 seed and probably no shot at the division. So it was a much needed win. I mean, I would love Hoyt was probably the most important piece on the defense the last couple of weeks, and his presence is going to be. His presence not being there any longer is going to be felt devastatingly, but I'm sure he'll be back as soon as he possibly can.
Yeah, the more I think about that, I have to agree with you, Sean. I feel like I'll take the win. Why? Like you said, we still have a shot at the 1st seed, which would be great. I haven't had the 1st seed, and would we? Hoyt been with the team 2 weeks. Really, came in with some great energy. He was ready. He was well rested. That's something that he said there. But would he have sustained that? Right? I don't know. Like 2 games, everyone. There's a lot of players you can look at 2 games and say, "Oh my God, what a difference maker is going to be," and then things change. Maybe offenses are like watching him now and they're preparing for him. I'll take the win, because we're still chasing. We're still chasing the Patriots. B, we put 2 games. We got we set the Chiefs back. They're now in their division. They're chasing 1 or 2 teams that are 2 games ahead of them. I still expect them to make it. But yeah, it was just to give us some separation. It was a very dominant win, but I'll take the win. Steve, what about you? I would like to hear what you guys thought as well. Let me go back and let me see. Steve has a follow up on that. White would be out there in a walking boot. Yeah, he's that old school guy, man. If he broke his leg or whatever, he would stay out there if they'd let him. Back in the day, way back in the day, these players were playing with injuries all the time. Not necessarily an Achilles, but they're playing with some broken bones from time to time. And yeah, he would. He just was that type of guy.
Yeah, he got right up and continued the play.
Yeah.
So you see it like I said on a post game show, you see people in tears crying on the ground as soon as it happens. But he stood up on the leg that he hurt and put all of his body weight on it to stand up, and then it kept playing, and then hopped off the field. So I'm going to stay with the team. I'm going to stay with the defense, and now we'll worry about it tomorrow. So, but
yeah. So good question here from John. What happens when Oliver and Sanders comes back? So Oliver, look, we've heard that could be playoff time. Hopefully. How many times have you heard where this guy's going to be back and next thing you know, it doesn't happen? But let's assume he comes back. Fantastic. If it is playoffs, it'll be a little rusty, of course, so he won't be at his top form. That'd be fantastic, right? That would fill the void of losing Hoyt. Would have been great to have both of them out there, but to get him back, obviously, is always a great thing. He's our best defensive line person. Our D tackles for sure. Sanders, I think, Sean, you mentioned it earlier. DJ really hasn't done much. I don't say done much. I feel bad for saying that, but he's a 2nd round pick, and I don't think he's made an impact. You do the trenches review every week. And what were your thoughts on him?
He's awful. He's awful. And he's been on IR too. So now is he going to be awful forever? I don't think so. He's got potential to be good, but as of right now, he's always out of position. He doesn't make plays, can't run defense, can't really rush the passer well. Literally just no impact. And it's a shame because we traded up and lost capital for that. And he's sat out and wanted more money and didn't like the contract. So he held out and still doesn't produce. And then now he's hurt. So I don't think it was a great pick. I didn't like it from the beginning. I still believe in the kid, but this year I think is just a wash year. Don't even bring him back. I'm sure he'll come back because now we don't have a choice, but I'm not excited about him. I'd rather just him not be on the field whatsoever. And then Oliver, I think he'll come back in the playoffs. It's Jones came back when he was hurt, when he tore his pec, but bicep is different. There's severities to it. It all depends on how he progresses. He seems to think he's going to be fine, but we'll see.
Let's not forget we are getting Daquan Jones back at some point. Let me just go through you mentioned it earlier. So Wednesday's injury report from the Buffalo Bills, you mentioned some of them. Christian Benford, groin, he was limited. Terrell Bernard, ankle, limited. Joshua Palmer, knee, ankle, limited. Good to see. Would be great to see him come back. Bosa, wrist, did not practice. James Cook, ankle, did not practice. Ankle did. You could see in James Cook, it seemed noticeable. Like not that it was noticeable while I was running, but there was something that happened early, and or I don't know if it was from the game previously that he had kind of tweaked that ankle just a tad. But when you run for over 100 yards, wasn't that bad, right? And I expect him to be out there. AJ Epinesa, this one's new to me. Concussion protocol. Didn't see when that happened. I don't know. Maybe it was when he hit Pat Mahomes on the sideline and drilled him. I don't know. That's interesting. Taron Johnson, groin, did not participate, did not practice. Taron missed this past week's game. Daquan Jones, calf again, did not practice. Shaq Thompson, hamstring, did not practice. Jordan Phillips' wrist was full. So I think, if I go down the list here, I got to say the Benford, the Bernard, the Bosa, the Cook. It's Wednesday, giving them an extra day rest. Why not? Hard fought game. I mean, Bosa was insane that game, just insane. As was, Benford, Bernard, and Cook. So I think you're giving them rest. Epinesa, again, I don't know when that concussion happened. Do you recall when that happened? It had to be late in the game.
I got what's it called? I got about 30 minutes on the film left, and he's still in the game. So I never saw him come off. Now, to be fair, Bosa played the entire game with his hurt wrist, because I even would look over at Jake and I'm like, oh, he keeps yanking on his wrist and shaking his hand out. He played the entire game and dominated. And then Cook, I guess he got hurt earlier in the game and he played the entire game. So it sucks seeing him on the injury report, because you're playing a crappy team that you always kick their butt, and even though they're not going to make the playoffs, it would mean the absolute world to them, and they could beat the Buffalo Bills. So they're going to play the best game, the second best game of the season for them, because the first time was when they played us the first time. And if you didn't have Bosa, you didn't have Cook, you didn't have Taron Johnson, you didn't have Benford, you didn't have AJ Epinesa, you didn't have Palmer, you didn't have all these people, then you'd be like, what are we going to do here? And then you got Landon Jackson starting defensive end, and he's not the worst player in the world, Mike, but he's not quite ready to be a starter.
Well, I'll tell you what, I expect him to be active this week, and I think
he's definitely going to be active.
It's time to give him a shot, man, and let him see what he can do. I mean, he's played 3 games I think he was active for. You saw the trenches. There was nothing bad he did.
No,
there weren't, and there were a couple plays that you said he was in on. Now, they didn't show on the stat line, but a lot of things people do don't show on the stat line.
Right.
I didn't see him get beat. I didn't see him get bullied. I didn't see him miss tackles. A lot of times, unfortunately, they were just going away from him on the other side of the field. A lot of plays when he's in, because I watch when he's in. But we'll see. I expect him to be active this week for sure. And it's a good point by Brett. Beane is damned if you do, damned if you don't. If Beane made a trade and gave up the farm, we'd be saying fire Beane. I think that really depends on who the player is, who he got, right? And then what move that was made in the same way you would have. Okay, what move that was made in the same way would you have made?
I don't know. I think if he traded a first for Olave, nobody would say you gave up the farm, fire Beane. He should be fired for more than just making a trade now, but he should be doing something to try to save his job, because whether he's bad or not, he's going to go down with McDermott, whether it's next year or the year after, because that's what happens. Usually it's coach first, but if they keep of not winning a Super Bowl or getting to a Super Bowl, they're eventually going to have to be let go, not because they're really, really bad, but because they're not getting the job done. Now, I always say GM is probably the best job in the world to have, because you never get blamed for anything, because everything falls back on the coaches. Everything falls back on the players, because everyone says, well, the GM's not out there dropping passes. Because my friends in Miami Dolphin land, a lot of them defended the GM because he brought in amazing talent. The Tyreek Hills, the Teron Armsteads, the Jalen Ramseys, the Jalen Waddles, the Zach Silers, Calais Campbell at the time. They brought in a ton of talent. They never did anything. And everyone would say, well, the GM's not the one dropping passes. The GM's not the one throwing interceptions. But that's the thing about it. They get no blame, and they're protected by everybody else's, failure per se. So it's frustrating, because they should be at fault, at least equal to, or in a 33% pie. The coach, GM, and player, 33.3. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't see it that way, and they think Beane's the best GM in the world, never makes a mistake. But year after year, we're in the same position, and he just goes on the podium and says, "We got a Super Bowl roster. Trust the process, believe in us," and it's the same thing.
Yeah. So going back to Go Bills podcast one more time here, he believes we aren't one player away from winning a Super Bowl. I don't know if I fully agree with that. I mean, how do you know, right? How do you know until you try? And adding a piece like a good receiver. Look, the ask was always to get a receiver. Until that injury happened to Hoyt, it shifted a little bit. It shifted. I would have been good with either defensive tackle or a receiver, but we got nothing. And again, we don't know. Like John Roberts said earlier, we don't know what happened. I feel like there was a deal being done. Something fell apart, and not sure what that was. You don't restructure a guy's contract one day before the trade deadline. You're thinking we're making this deal, and something goes south. I don't know what it is. We don't know. But again, we get nothing. So I don't know. Go Bills podcast. I don't know if you can say that for sure.
I'm not saying that it would have guaranteed anything.
No, it won't guarantee anything.
We have a lot of issues. The whole fan base, including us, has been saying, "Oh, the receivers aren't doing this. Receivers aren't doing that. Defense can't stop the run. Defense does this. Defense does that." Yeah, one player doesn't necessarily change anything, but when we need one play to win a AFC Championship game, maybe Chris Olave makes that catch that Dalton Kincaid dropped. That, I mean, again, I say it all the time. Kincaid did all the hard parts. First of all, he was injured, so he was able to stop on a dime with his hurt knee, get open, dive forward, and all he had to do was, because the ball was right in between his arms, all he had to do was go like this, and it went right through his arms, and then he dropped it. So he did all the hard parts, and he failed coming up in a big moment. If he caught that ball, we probably win the football game, and we're playing in the Super Bowl. Now, we maybe not win the Super Bowl, but we're probably playing in it. So maybe Chris Olave makes that play. Now, to Brett's point, we're not a Kingsley Jonathan away from a Super Bowl. So if that's the one player we're getting, then I agree. But it all depends on the person makes a big play in a big moment. And I know Steve mentioned, getting a wide receiver never really works out. It did work out for LA when they got Odell Beckham in his prime. Not in his prime, but on the kind of the tail end of his career. He made big plays for them before he got hurt in the Super Bowl, and they got a ring out of it.
Yeah, we'll definitely all be cheering for the Bucs against the Patriots for sure. We're chasing them. So again, another reason why that was such a huge win. Stay right with them, step for step, and then of course when we play them, take down the division. They definitely have an easier schedule than us, and yeah, you definitely want to see the Bucs show up here. Agree with you there. Let's see here. Let's go down. I got a lot to catch up on. We got Mafia Sports Report out there. What's up, fellas? My guy Mike and Sean, smash that like for us. Yes, smash that like for us. We greatly appreciate it. If you're new to the channel, most of you out there in the chat are not, but anyone rewatching or catching us for the first time, drop a nickel on that subscribe button. I promise it's actually free. Drop a nickel, pick it up, but drop a nickel on that subscribe button and smash that like for us. Really, really appreciate that. And let's see. Stay input means more snaps for Landon. Yeah, I'm looking forward to some Landon Jackson. I really am. I've been a big fan of his. And like I said, he's been out there. I feel like he's looked better than Solomon. I mean, Solomon earlier in the season wasn't doing much. I think he might have had a decent game. I don't know. Have you checked the stats on him for this game?
This game, he only played 9 snaps. None of them were run defense.
Yeah,
so,
there you go.
I mean, he didn't do anything in the pass rush either. Now, he's not horrible, but he's not someone you want playing meaningful snaps because he's not going to impact anything.
Sean, come on. You don't know. Who are you talking about? Landon?
Solomon.
Oh, okay. Yes, exactly. I'd rather have
not
Jackson
that he can't.
and Solomon.
He showed some stuff last year, but right at this point in time, he's not really benefiting us when he plays defense. I think he made a sack this year, but he basically got pushed out by Oliver and Rousseau, and he kind of just ran into Solomon. So, I mean, he was in the right position, but I don't. And I know John says he plays special teams, and I'm not singling just him out, but the entire special teams unit coverage, kick return, punt return, kickoff, punt. I don't think any of them have been good. I was really hopeful for them this year with the new coach, but I was looking over at Jake at the game. I said, it feels like we always have horrible field position, whether it's for bad returns or penalties. And then when we kick the ball off, they always get the ball at the 35 anyway. So I was like, something's not right here. We're getting the ball at the 15. Other teams get the ball at the 35 every time. So we're always starting in a bad position. But yeah.
Yeah. Tommy, Mike forbids me to call him by the cool nickname I gave him. Was that Buffalo Mike? That's the only nickname I'll accept. Nothing with California.
California Mike.
Nothing with California. Steve, yeah, great hit. This was a big hit for Beane this year with Deion Walker. You know, think Trek Reviewer. I think Trek Reviewer sent a letter, from what I hear, rumor, sent a letter to Beane. He was all over this guy, pre-draft, all over him. And got him. And we nailed it. And this dude is going to be, he continues to get better as the season goes on. And yes, I believe he's on track to be an elite defensive tackle. I mean, come on now. It's incredible what he's doing out there.
Yeah, he's been great. I mean, even his draft profile, you didn't think he'd be able to be such a great run defender, but he's got 7 tackles for loss. I think he had like 3 or 4 in just a single game a couple weeks ago. And he's just been super exciting. He could do it all, really. Really does a great job controlling the line of scrimmage, can absorb double teams, win on double teams, good pass rusher. I mean, he's got 2 games with a half sack, so he's got 1 full sack. But he's been really good. And I know people said he was potentially a first-round pick if he never got hurt. So that was a really, that was a really great pick. And then Haas has been good. He dropped an easy one in the game, but he's been great blocking, made a couple good catches this year. So
he did have a catch in that game too, though. Kept the streak alive, right? Jake was saying 6-0 when he catches the ball. That is. And his blocking is insane. That dude, and he loves it. He loves it. I think I saw an interview with him. So I don't forget who was interviewing him, but
probably Eric Wood, huh?
I think it was, yeah. And he just said, yeah, it's my thing, man. I enjoy it. Love it. Let's see here. Yeah, John, I don't get worried about Wednesday injury reports. It's really Thursday, right? I think Wednesdays are kind of like, we'll give you a rest. You deserve it. It was a later game on Sunday. You earned it. It's tomorrow. It's when you start seeing it tomorrow where you got to get a little concerned. And if they're, so we'll see. We'll see what that looks like tomorrow. Go Bills was saying Cook was hurt on a hip drop tackle.
That could be. I didn't see it.
Yeah. And then John, they finally passed the ball to Cook on a big, was it third down play? Was it third or fourth on it when he threw it to him?
Near the end of the game, that was a third down, I believe.
Third down. Big play. And yes, they went to him. And I agree. Get our backs the ball more. But I think that's coming. I mean, when you build up such a great run game and defenses have to support, I mean, it's hard to stop our run game, even if you know what we're going to do. That old line's elite. Those tight ends are such good blockers. And then you bring in, I love it, Reggie Gilliam now. Bring him back to fullback. Oh my goodness. It's elite. And it's hard to stop. I don't know a defense, and then you start focusing on that. That's going to open up the passing plays left and right, man. By the way, I want to thank our sponsor today, Junglecat Radio, bringing back the 80s. There's a link in the description. Go check it out. If you're an 80s guy like me, you want to check it out, man. I listen to this. When I'm not talking to Sean on my long rides into work or home, I put on Junglecat Radio. 80s, love 80s. That's my jam. And it's cool to have radio personalities back. And sure, you'll catch a few little commercials, but they play a lot of music before that. And of course, you got to help them pay the bills. Just like us, you got to watch an ad. Some of you, if you don't have premium, got to go through an ad to help us pay the bills here, right? It's not free to put on a podcast. But thank you, Junglecat Radio. Check them out. Live 365 is the app you can download on your phone. Go to their website as well, but it's free and it's great stuff. So thanks again. Let's see here. Let's see. So much to catch up on. I appreciate all you guys. And we already talked about Steve and the receiver. Do you remember when the Bills didn't even play 500 ball.
Yeah. Yes, I do. Unfortunately, that's what I grew up in. I mean, I'm only 30, so
But
from
I
when I
also
started
remember
being a
them
fan
when they
to
played, when they went to 4 straight Super Bowls, John. So that whole era where we just couldn't get to the playoffs. Yeah,
yeah.
we all
But
remember that.
and obviously being what we are is great, but I know deep down we all want to get there for the opportunity to win or even just win. Because I really don't think as long as Josh is here and healthy, that if you gave a bunch of picks away, if you swung on a big time name and we wouldn't be bad. You know what I mean? Because he's so good that he's proven he's kept McDermott, and as good as McDermott is with defense, play calling. I don't think McDermott or Beane would have a job if they didn't get Josh Allen. That's how special of a one of a kind player he is. Obviously, we have other great talent too, but he's the main star in the show. Obviously. So I just think it can't hurt to give away a couple first round picks. Like you said, the Rams did it. They won a Super Bowl and they fell off for a year, but that was only because Stafford and Cooper Kupp missed the entire season. And the next year they were back in the playoffs again. Now they drafted last year was Jared Verse and then Braden Fisk that we like, and they have the best. They were the highest pressuring defensive line last year. They have a great defense. They have a great coach. Stafford's MVP candidate right now.
Yep.
They drafted Puka Nacua. We drafted Justin Shorter over Puka Nacua. So, I mean, it's frustrating because we're so close to getting there. We're a couple plays away. That's why I really think if you keep swinging on at least one player every year, maybe it's possible.
Yeah, I want to bring up this comment from Trek Reviewer. Everyone on the active roster has looked better than Cam. And let me just say this. That's fake news. Hashtag fake news. Cam
Well, I
Lewis
will
was
say,
on the
Mike.
field. Okay, hold on a minute. Hold on. Then you can say your thing. The dude was on the field for 60 plays in that game. 60 plays. Again, I know you use PFF. We say it's a tool. He's the 4th best defensive rating on a team with a 77.7. Come on, he was part of that team that kept Pat Mahomes to his lowest completion percentage of his career. Give Cam Lewis a break. By the way, Cam texted me the other day. He got a hold of my number. He watches our show, Trek. He says he wants to have a one-on-one with you. So you let me know how he can contact you, and I'll let him know. And he's going to have a one-on-one, straighten you right up. Cam Lewis, my star, one of my stars of the game. All right, Sean, what were you going to say negative about my man?
Well, it's just because I pay attention because you're such a big fan. One of those big Kelsey plays on like 3rd and 50, he was on Kelsey and he let him go. But
let him go.
Yeah, he pushed him, and then he moved off of him, and then nobody else touched him. He was wide open. So I'm sure there was a miscommunication from the other safeties and linebackers because he was playing on the line a little bit. I think it was a dime package play, but maybe he messed up in his mind thinking he had once he pushed off he had help, but he didn't. He ran like 40 yards downfield, made a big catch on a 3rd and 25 or some crap. And yeah,
Truck Reviewer. I think if you haven't already, I don't know what I wonder if you could submit a resume to be a scout, or how you get that word out. Like, they should be talking to you, Truck Reviewer. You should have a job as a scout, because you've hit some. You do your draft. You already done your draft for 2026. You already done it. You already did your mock drafts. Prior to this year's draft, you were doing all kinds of mock drafts, and you hit on a couple of the guys. Haas, Walker, spot on. Tommy, it sounds like you're great too. Sean, you're all right too. Appreciate your friendship and getting my jokes. Of course, man. Fun stuff.
That's what it's all about.
Yes, sir. Let's see here. Walker was ragdolling Creed Humphreys. Dude, he'd rag down 90% of the people that he faces. The dude is just massive.
And just to even give more credit and just how incredible it is for him to be as good as he is. The taller you are, the harder it is to be in that position, but it doesn't matter for him. Like when you want to be the low man, but even though he's significantly taller than everyone else, he still was able to win a lot of his matchups, and it doesn't faze him that he's that tall. So I think it's awesome.
Steve saying the focus needs to be solely on winning the division. I truly believe the number one seed will come out of the AFC East. Let's go. The Bucs will beat New England this weekend, and we'll be in charge again. Yeah, I would love that.
Yeah.
And of course, Trek Reviewer is saying PFF is BS, which stands for best stats. So good stuff there. I agree.
It could be.
You're there. Best stats out there.
But yeah, to Steve's point, so right now, I don't remember who the Broncos lost is. Well, they lost to the Colts, but I can't remember who the other Broncos loss was. But they're 7-2. We're 6-2. Colts are 7-2, and the Patriots are 7-2. Now the Patriots have 2 conference losses. We only have 1, and the Colts have 1. So technically, I'm just gonna say the Broncos because I want to say they lost to an NFC team. I'm not sure, Mike, if you want to double check. But Broncos, us, and the Colts have the best chance of winning the conference or getting the 1 seed because of the conference losses. Now, the Patriots only have to play us, they have to play the Ravens, and they have to play Tampa Bay. Those are their 3 tough games left. Now, could they lose to the Jets? Maybe. Can they lose to the Dolphins? Maybe. Tua's only have 1 loss to the Patriots in his career, so maybe they could beat them. They could maybe drop a stinker, possibly. But the Colts, they got the Chiefs coming up. Their division is pretty easy, so maybe they got a good chance. But I think if we can finish 14-3, at the worst, maybe 13-4, it's very possible because if we beat the Patriots once and we both finish 13-4, we will have, depending on who we lose to, we'll have less conference losses. So then we would win the division if we were both 13-4. And that just depends on what the Broncos do. They got to play Kansas City twice. They got to play the Chargers once or twice. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah. So I have a question for you here. By the way, Maxwell Hairston was our top graded defensive player. My goodness, was out on the field 30 snaps. He was on the field 27 snaps the week before. Had a 91.1. That's phenomenal. And you saw what that kid could do for our defense. I mean, dude, step for step with Xavier Worthy. Step for step. Had an interception. Unbelievable. To be able to say that your first interception is against Pat Mahomes. I mean, I hope he took that football. He's got it up on his. What do you think? You think he had the balls to go up to Mahomes after the game and say, "Pat, can I get that autograph from you on this football?"
I don't know, but he could have had 2 interceptions though, because the other play where he was step for step with Worthy, he didn't turn his head around. But if he turned his head around, the ball was definitely interceptable. But you just love to see that. He's got. I'm not going to say he's a star yet, but he's been looking great since he's been playing.
Yep.
I'm sure he'll get even more of a role this week, and he's exciting. He's young, he's fast, he's athletic, he's smart, instinctual. So hopefully he pans out and he could be a huge piece of this defense going forward.
I mean, I can't remember seeing blanket coverage like that was. He was like stuck on him like glue without getting handsy. I mean, there was no hands touch on his chest was just pretty much glued against Worthy. It was incredible to see. And again, you see a lot, like somebody mentioned Sauce Gardner is overrated. We used to talk about, and people still say how handsy Kyer Elam is. That's probably why they dealt Sauce. Take a look at how handsy that guy is. And they started to call it finally. It took him a couple of years, but dude is handsy as can be, as anyone else. And let's see here. It was nice seeing those shiny white teeth and smiling Harrison as he was running right next. Yeah, it was fantastic. So future looks bright there on our secondary. I had a question for you on the offensive side of the ball. Our number one receiver was Dawson Kincaid. Sorry, I said Dawson. I'm getting that mixed up. Dalton Kincaid, right? Based on his, and you might have cheated. Tell me if you did. Not cheated, but you already might see this. Based on his performance, how many snaps do you think he played in the game? Now, let me just give you some reference here.
We ran the ball like 30 times. We passed the ball 27 times. 22.
Dude, it was 23. Nice. And reference, Shakir was on the 40 times, 40 snaps. Coleman, 45 snaps. And so you're thinking, I heard some talk like, why isn't he on the field more? I like what they're doing. He's not, it's Haas and Knox who are the best blockers, right? Preserve him. He's had injury issues. I'm not at all. I don't have a problem at all with 23 snaps. They were meaningful snaps and they were at the right time. So good guess though.
Yeah, I mean, if he's hurt and he's not hurt, obviously he's not on the injury report, but he was banged up a couple weeks ago. So if you want to, slow play him back a little bit, yeah, but if he's your best weapon and we're struggling like we were in Atlanta, like we were against New England, and you're just not playing him, then that's stupid. But especially when like Keon plays 45 snaps and gets 2 catches.
Yep.
So I mean, it's like I'd rather have Kincaid on the field, and instead of getting 6 targets and 6 catches, maybe get 8 targets and 8 catches. I mean, but he's been great. He's been awesome. But I would just like to use your best players. You know what I mean?
All right. So we have some hard stops here in a few minutes, but I want to end this. It wouldn't be a Mafia Midway show without a Nick Wright quote or something that he did on his show. I mean, you guys might have seen it. It's on First Things First. I enjoy it. It's entertaining. So he dropped 2 banners, Sean, and you would know more than anyone because this is something you always worried about after we won the game. He dropped 2 banners, one for Josh. He said, congratulations, Josh. You consistently, he was outplaying, you consistently outplay Mahomes when it matters least. So drops a banner. It's got a picture of Josh Allen, and that's what it says. And then he also says, drops another banner. Congratulations to the Buffalo Bills for winning their 5th straight Super Bowl.
No, I'm glad you brought these up. There's something else you said that I want to bring up.
I know you were worried about that. Yeah.
No, so
take us home with that.
So I'll say that stuff first, and then there's one thing I want to bring up after. But I know it's going to sound ignorant and or arrogant and cocky, but the Chiefs to me is more like playing the Dolphins than it is our Super Bowl. It's almost it's essentially an automatic win in the regular season at this point. So I don't look at it as our Super Bowl because it's 5 years in a row now. It's like I get the schedule. Oh, I see the Dolphins and the Chiefs. That's 3 wins. So I don't think it's a Super Bowl. I just think it's a complete ownage of a team. Now I know they beat us in the playoffs, but to the point of Allen outplays Mahomes when it matters least is also untrue because there's a guy, and I forgot his name, but he's made a video and he's not even a Bills fan, proving that in 3 out of the 4 playoff games, Josh Allen has outplayed Patrick Mahomes statistically based on also difficulty of plays that has to be made, surrounding cast, and Allen's outplayed Mahomes in 3 out of 4 of those playoff games. So if you put the banner in that said Allen has outplayed Mahomes 8 out of 10 times that they played against each other, then that would be correct. But he's trying to just make it seem like it doesn't matter, but it does matter because now his team's 5-4. They're not going to win their division, and they might not even make the postseason. I know everyone's going to say, "Oh, but you can't count them out." They got to play Denver twice, which they might lose both games. So let's just say they lose both games. That's 6 losses already. They got to play the Colts. So let's just say they lose to the Colts. That's 7 losses. So they have no more room for error. They still got to play the Chargers again, and who knows what happens. So they might – I mean, I know they're not going to lose every single game, but to just give a team that has lost every close game this year lost to every good team they played minus Detroit and just automatically give them everything because they've been successful before? I don't know. But he's a Chiefs fan, so of course he's gonna. And the last thing I wanted to say that he brought up, he was kind of killing Hairston and Cole Bishop because they were asked the question, hey, how did you how did you get this interception, or how did you make all these plays? And they mentioned how, oh, where are these tendencies? He's lazy when he's not getting the ball, blah, 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 blah. And then Nick Wright's like, well, that's the dumbest thing they could have ever said, because now they're going to know when you play them next time that you know their tendencies. But I'm just like, Andy Reid knows that everybody watches film. So it doesn't matter what these guys see, because it's Andy Reid's job to try to make it so things are different anyway. So these kids were asked a question because of an awesome job they did, and they said what anyone else would have said. If you asked any other player, how did you know that play could be happening, or how did you make such a quick break to the ball, or how did you know that the ball might be coming to Worthy? And they answered it honestly and truthfully because they're putting the work in. You shouldn't kill someone over that, especially when they dominated your football team. So
100%. 100%. They were able to watch the film and get the tells on these players, the things that they do. It's like a poker game, right? And let me just tell you this, even if you are told that you do this, it's very hard to break doing that. If that's a habit of yours, if that's something you do, it's extremely hard to get away from that tell. And I thought they answered it great. And I would love to hear that from two youngsters. Like they give a tell. And not afraid to say it. So yeah, so listen, one last question, because we have just about another minute or two. Some Bills wide receivers separate. Josh needs to be more confidence receiver and be accurate. Yeah, he had a fantastic game this last one, and was able to go a little deep with some of the throws down the middle. Kincaid, Elijah Moore on a big play as well. Would love to see that. Last question of the day, and we're going to get out of here. And I appreciate everyone in the channel. If you're catching us on the rewatch today, please smash that like button, please. And drop a nickel on that subscribe button if you're new. Again, this show is so much more fun when we have you guys participating with us. So thank you so much. Otherwise, it's just been Sean and I talking about a bunch of different topics. But I love when you guys bring up stuff. We love to talk about it. Except when you start talking bad about Cam Lewis. Just stop, please. I'll still talk about it. I don't like it. Here you go. Last, and be quick about this one. Kate Adams had on Brian Hoare, who I like. He does a podcast, and he gave his top 5 quarterback rankings right now. Let me give them to you and tell me you agree or disagree, and which ones would you change. Number 1, Matt Stafford. Number 2, Drake May. Number 3, Pat Mahomes. Number 4, Josh Allen. And number 5, Sam Darnold. What do you guys think in the chat? Sean, what do you think? Where do you get it wrong?
Order got every single one wrong. No, I would probably take Mahomes out of the top 5. I would probably leave Sam in there. Stafford's been really good. I wouldn't put him at 1 though. And Drake May, he's been good against bad teams. Yeah, they beat us, but he had 0 touchdowns, so he didn't really do much against the bad. Our defense was bad when we played him then. But yeah, I'll probably take Drake May out of the top 5. He might be 6. But yeah, you know what? I would leave Stafford at 1.
Yeah,
so you got that one right,
dude. He's red hot. I mean, I got him on my fantasy team. He's just killing. He's got great weapons. That also helps, right? Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua. Come on now, I have Puka as well on my team. I have both of them. Yeah. Can you imagine?
Yeah, if I had more time, I would try to think of a top 5 that I would put. But I think Stafford, Allen for sure in there. Like I haven't watched much of Sam Darnold, only the couple primetime games. So I mean, if he's probably watched him more, and he played quarterback in the league, so maybe I'll leave him in there too.
Yeah, love it. All right, everybody, we're out of here. We'll see you on the pregame show Friday night with Sean and somebody else. We'll see who joins Sean this Friday. Could be any one of the 3 of us. So thanks, Steve. Says I always enjoy the show, but not get to watch enough. Been cooking. Steve, we still got to do this cooking thing. It's not too late. I'm the one who's been letting you down. We got to make this happen. Let's get out of here, Sean. Let's go celebrate a little bit longer about that big win against the Chiefs. Go Bills.
Go Bills.